Hello dear students, welcome to today's class. Today actually we are going to start one of the most important topic of the quadratic equation, how to find the roots of the quadratic equation. Roots by factorization. Which method? By factorization method. Now we are going to make 100% clarity about the factorization. Means how to find the roots by factorization. Whatever the doubts you are having, now today it will be clear. Let me take an example. I have to find the roots by taking one example, that is 2x square plus x minus 6. This is a quadratic equation, and from this quadratic equation I want to find what are the roots. So as already I have told you in a polynomial chapter, same thing I have to do. Multiplication, what is your multiplication? Is minus 12, 2 into minus 6, minus 12. What is your addition? Your addition is plus 1. This is your addition. Now tell me two numbers. If you multiply those two numbers, you are getting minus 12. But if you add those two numbers, you are getting 1. I am getting the numbers. Are you? See the numbers. These are the two numbers, 4 and minus 3. If you multiply these two, I am getting minus 12. But if I add the 2, I am getting 1. So instead of this, 2x square plus, now instead of this x, I have to write these two, plus 4x minus 3x minus 6 becomes equals to 0. So what to take the common? 2x. 2x. If I take the common 2x, what I am getting? X plus 4x is this your 2, x plus 2. Here if I take out the common minus 3, I can write x plus 2 is equals to 0. Now x plus 2, take out x plus 2 of 2x minus 3 equals to 0. Now individual factors I can write x plus 2 equals to 0 and 2x minus 3 again equals to 0. X becomes minus 2. Here 2x is equals to 3 or x is equals to 3 by 2. Now these two are the roots of this quadratic equation, and the method is factorization. I split the middle one and I got the answer. So what are my roots? My roots are minus 2 and 3 by 2. So like this, similarly we do 2-3 problems of different types, how to find the roots of different quadratic equation. So I think this one is clear. Let me do one more. Got it? Let me do the second one. I am not doing any other methods. Exactly the same method. You just try. How we are getting. Let me take one more example of this quadratic equation, and I'll write and I'll find the roots of that quadratic equation. So this is very, very important. Usually this comes in examination. Let me take the second one. Second example is, if I take 100x square, first example exactly what you did, the second example also I do this in the same way. Suppose minus 20x plus 1. If I take this one, right, is equals to 0. Again the same thing I have to do. Multiplication gives me 100. So let me write here, your multiplication is 100. What is the addition? Your addition becomes minus 20. This is your addition. And this is your multiplication. Multiplication is 100. Addition is 20. Think of the two numbers. If you multiply those two numbers, you are getting 100. But if you add those two numbers, you must get minus 20. I am getting. I think you are also getting 10 and 10. 10 tens are 100, minus 10 and minus 10. Multiply, I think you are getting 100. Add, you are getting minus 20. Minus 10 is your minus 20. Again same thing, 100x square. Instead of this middle term, let me write these two. Minus 10x, again minus 10x plus 1 equals to 0. Am I doing the same method? Exactly the same steps. Yes. Take out the common. 10x if I take out, 10x, that becomes 100x square minus 1. Here similarly, if I take out the common minus 1, again 10x minus 1 equals to 0. I think these two are my repeated term. I can take out common, again equals to 0. Now I got the two factors, and these two factors will give me two zeros. 10x minus 1 equals to 0. Again 10x minus 1 equals to 0. This 10x becomes equals to 1, whereas x gives me 1 by 10. In fact, this side, if I do the same thing, 10x is equals to 1, x is equals to 1 by 10. So what are the two roots I got? My two roots are equal. See the roots. The roots are 1 by 10 and 1 by 10. Sometimes you'll get the equal roots. Sometimes you may get different roots. That we'll discuss while discussing the nature of the roots, which is again very important. The roots may be equal. Both the roots may be equal. Both the roots may not be equal. Two different numbers you may get. And sometimes we can't find the roots. All this we'll discuss in the next session, that is a nature of the roots. What would be the nature of the roots? I think this one clear. So we found the roots by which method? The name of the method is factorization. By factorization method, we splitted the middle term and we got the two roots. So today's part is actually we are finding the roots by factorization method. Finally one more I'll do, which is a little bit of different type, so that you can do all the different types. In fact, this was already I discussed while doing the polynomial chapter, while finding the zeros. There we are finding the zeros. That means we are finding x, and here also we are finding x. Let me take one more example. After that we just do by quadratic formula method. One more method is there. Now let me take next is okay. The third example is, second example is over. Now the third example. The third example is, if it is given in fractional form, like x minus 3 by x is equals to 2. How to find the roots if it is given in fractional form? This fractional form I must change into a quadratic equation. How to change? X LCM, and this becomes your x square minus 3 is equals to 2. I think got it? Right, next just do the cross multiplication. X square minus 3 is equals to 2x, right? Or x square minus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. I think now I got the quadratic equation. X square, bring this 2x this side, which is minus 2x minus 3 is equals to 0. Now my same procedure will start. What is your multiplication? Your multiplication is equals to 1 3 is minus 3, and your addition is minus 2. Now tell me two numbers. If you multiply those two numbers, your multiplication answer must be minus 3. But if you add the two numbers, your addition answer must be minus 2. Think of the numbers. Did you think? I thought of it. Multiplication must be minus 3 and addition must be minus 2. What are those two numbers? The two numbers are, before me, I think you must have written. The two numbers are this. One is minus 3, second is minus 1. If you multiply this minus 3 into 1, what you are getting? Minus 3. But if you add, minus 2. Now continue the same procedure. X square. Instead of this middle term, I must write this 2. Minus 3x plus 1x minus 3 equals to 0, which will further give me, if I take out the common as x, x minus 3 plus, let me take again, is equals to 0. I think the same method. Am I doing something different? No, exactly the same method what I had done in the previous two problems. Same thing I am doing. कुछ भी अलग नहीं, exactly same method I am using. What is that common repeated? ये दो repeat है, तो इसलिए हम लिखे of x plus 1 equals to 0. Got it? Now, if I take individual, let me take the individual x minus 3 and x plus 1. So x minus 3, let me take x minus 3, this x minus 3 equals to 0. Again, if x minus 3 equals 0, what is your x? My x is 3. Further, x plus 1 equals to 0. That means x is equals to minus 1. So what are the roots I got just now? The roots are, these are my roots, are 3 and minus 1. I hope you are getting this method. So factorization, by factorization method it's over. How to find the roots? By factorization method over. Now the second is, if it becomes difficult to split the middle term, अगर ये middle terms को split करना मुश्किल है, then how to find the roots? For that case, we are to use another method, means another formula. The name of the formula is quadratic formula. What is that formula? Quadratic formula. When that formula to use, that formula we can use if the middle term, splitting of the middle term becomes difficult, or splitting of the middle term is not possible. In that case, we are to use one method, one formula. The name of the formula is quadratic formula. In fact, this formula you can use here also, if it is not given by factorization method. Suppose the heading is given, find the roots only. Find the roots of the quadratic equation. In that case, you can use by splitting method, or you can use by using this quadratic formula method. Understood? When to use this one? If suppose the heading is given, find the roots, only find the roots of the following quadratic equation. He is not mentioned by factorization. Only he has given find the roots of the following quadratic equation. In that way, in that case, I can use either this method or this method. Means by this formula or by using this one also. Right? Now what is that formula? What does that formula says? Quadratic formula. The second is roots by quadratic formula, which is very important. You have to remember the formula. The second one is roots. How to find the roots? By quadratic formula. So roots by not factorization. Roots by what? To find the roots by this one. What is that? Quadratic formula. So I have to find the roots by one formula. What is that formula? That formula is quadratic formula. So first let me write the formula, then how to remember what is that formula. This is the formula. X is equals to, X stands for roots. Roots का सिंबल x है, जैसे कि जीरोस का सिंबल x है. x फाइंड करें इसका मतलब जीरो फाइंड करें, x फाइंड करें इसका मतलब रूट्स फाइंड करें. Again I am repeating, x means roots, x means zeros. Finding the zero means find x. Finding the roots means find x. X is nothing but zeros, x is nothing but roots. The roots is minus b plus or minus a root over b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. This formula try to remember, and this formula is known as quadratic formula. What is the formula? Quadratic formula. Minus b plus or minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. This formula, again I repeat, where to use if the middle term, splitting of the middle term, if it is impossible, or if only it is given, find the roots of the following quadratic equation. If factorization word is not there, in that case we have to use. So actually this formula we got from this one. Actually we got, this is the standard form of the quadratic equation. ये quadratic equation का standard form है, इसमें से x की वैल्यू ये आया. So what is that actually? B is nothing but coefficient of x. A is what? Coefficient of x square. Got it? So this formula is known as quadratic formula. But this formula will decide the nature of the roots. In this formula, one term is there, that is b square minus 4ac. Let me make it in a rectangular box. So why? Because this plays a very significant role. रूट्स का जो नेचर बताने वाला ये है. दिस विल डिसाइड द नेचर ऑफ द रूट्स. दिस विल डिसाइड वेदर यू कैन फाइंड द रूट्स और नॉट. दिस विल डिसाइड, दिस कैन डिसाइड, एंड दिस इज represented by the letter D, and D stands for discriminant. What is this D? D stands for discriminant. What does D stands for? Discriminant. Anyhow, we'll use the formula. But remember, in this formula, this b square minus 4ac will decide the nature of the roots. What kind of the roots you are going to get? Both the roots are equal, or both the roots are different, or whether it is possible to find the roots or not. This will decide. Which one will decide? This formula will decide. Remember, this formula will decide whether you can find the roots or not. So this is the deciding factor of what? Of any quadratic equation. Of any quadratic equation, this is the deciding factor. So what I can say, this is not D, this is the DNA. What is this? It's a DNA of the quadratic equation. क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन का ये डी नहीं है, क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन ये डीएन है. दैट मीन्स व्हाट काइंड ऑफ द नेचर दैट क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन हैज, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ द रूट्स दैट क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन हैज, दिस डी विल डिसाइड. नाउ हाउ इट डिसाइड्स, लेट्स स्टार्ट. But before this, I have to do one problem. How to use this formula in any quadratic equation. Let me start one quadratic equation where the middle term is impossible. Suppose, let me take one quadratic equation where the middle term is impossible. X square plus 5x plus 2 equals to 0. In this case, you can't split the middle term. In fact, in general way, we can't do it. So therefore, what I have to use? I have to use this formula. What is my A? I think 1, because ax square means A is 1. What is my B? B is 5. What is C? C is equals to 2. Now let's start. X means I am going to find the roots. X is equals to minus B plus or minus root over B square minus 4ac by 2. Remember again repeat. I am repeating. Minus b plus or minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. B square minus 4ac, this is called the discriminant. We'll use in future. Minus, what is your b? 5 plus or minus root over b square. B square, what is b square? B is 5, so b square is 25. 5 5 is 25. Minus 4 into a, 1 into c is 2. Divided by 2 into, again a is 1. This further simplification gives me like this: minus 5 plus or minus 25 minus 4 into a into c, a into 4 into a into c. 4 to the 8 and divided by 2 on the 2. If I further simplify, this will give me 5 plus or minus 25 minus 8. I think 25, 17 and divided by 2. I think this is a irrational number. Further we can't find because this is not a perfect square. So what to do? I have the two signs. One is plus, one is minus. So first time you have to use the word plus. Second time you have to use the algebraic sign minus. पहले plus लिखना, बाद में minus लिखना. First I am writing plus. कहाँ से? ये वाला जो plus minus है. √17/2. अच्छा plus का हो गया, अब minus का. Repeat the same thing. 5. Now minus √17/2. In fact, these two are the roots of this quadratic equation. I hope understanding. Why I use this formula? Because this middle term I can't split as per my requirement. So therefore, I use this quadratic formula. By quadratic formula method, you can find any equations roots. So what are my roots? These are the roots. These two are my roots. So this is the way how to find the quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. I think you got it. Now if even this formula I can use, if splitting is possible, there also I'll get this formula I can use to get the roots. How to use? Let me take one more quadratic equation where we can use by both the methods, by splitting method as well as by quadratic formula method. For that, let me take one more example. X square minus x minus 2 equals to 0. This one I can do by splitting method, and this one I can even do by quadratic formula method. By splitting method, you try yourself because already I told you. By quadratic formula method, let's see. A is equals to I think 1. B is equals to I think minus 1 because this is B. C is equals to minus 2. Now let me use the formula. X is equals to minus B minus of minus 1 because B is minus 1 plus or minus a root over B square. What is B? Minus 1 square B square minus 4 into my A is 1 and C is minus 2 divided by 2 into A. Only I am writing the value of ABC, that's all. This minus into minus gives me plus or minus root over minus 1 square is 1 only, minus into minus plus 4 1 ja 4, 4 2 ja 8 and divided by 2 1 ja 2 only. Now this further if I simplify, this gives me 1 plus or minus √9, 1 plus 8 √9 and divided by 2. This further simplify, if I simplify 1 plus or minus 3 by 2. Why? Because this √9 is a perfect square. So therefore answer is 3. Now I'll choose 1 plus, 1 minus. 1 because this is plus or minus. Look at here. Here plus or minus means plus once you will take and minus also once you will take. Plus 3 divided by 2. 1 minus 3 divided by 2. 1 plus 3, 4 by 2 and minus 2 by 2. If I do the cancellation, what I am getting? 2 to the 4. So these are the roots of this quadratic polynomial, means equation. So by which method I did? By this method. What is the name of the method? Remember, this is the name of the method. Means name of the formula. What is the formula? Quadratic formula. Once again I repeat, quadratic formula. You try to remember this one. Try to remember. If splitting is not possible, then this is the best method. This is the best formula to find the roots. As I told you, this b square minus 4ac, this is what? This is a deciding factor of the roots. And this is called the discriminant. I told you, discriminants, D stands for the discriminant. So D is equals to what? B square minus 4ac. What? D is equals to B square minus 4ac. And I told you that D is nothing but the Dn of this quadratic equation. It decides the future of the equation, the nature of the equation. What kind of the nature, that will decide and that will discuss in the next video. Okay, till then next video. So next video is what? We are going to decide the nature of the quadratic equation, the DNA of the quadratic equation.